the Democrats went first in making their case that he did incite violence, and it's pathetically bad, like really bad. So first thing we have to do is issue a correction from yesterday's podcast. So we played a clip from Sky News reporting on what went on, and we're going to play this clip again just for anyone who didn't see it, and also to remind yourselves of what they tried to do.
Donald Trump's second impeachment trial, itself a moment of American history, beginning with the simple question of whether Congress has the right to try a former president at all.
What will the January exception
What we expected to be procedural, though, quickly became very visceral.
I'll show you.
And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Take the Capitol.
Now,
Senators shown this cinematic retelling of the events of January.
Right. So I had thought that it was Sky News that had cut it at that point, and it turns out that was actually the footage that was being shown in the trial, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we all assumed Sky News had been the deceptive ones here, because anyone who doesn't know, after that cut where he says we're going to go down to the Capitol and peaceably and patriotically make our voices heard, they cut that segment out. We assumed that Sky News had cut that, been deceiving the world. Turns out it's even worse. No, that was the Democrats' video that they played at the hearing, and that had been given to CNN, who then uncritically just showed it.
And even Sky as well, and all of them.
And that's the thing. Like, so the first one here is CBS News did exactly the same thing. The next one is CNN doing exactly the same thing. Next Twitter link, and they're reporting on it. And then the next one was also Al Jazeera doing exactly the same thing, where they cut it up so it didn't look like that. I also saw BBC News did exactly the same thing. But that's it's not just. So if they had just shown footage of the Capitol, people going in breaking stuff, that would have been fine to play uncritically, because it's like, look, this was what they showed. But that wasn't what it was. It was a partisan video made dishonestly.
And all of the media at this point therefore have a responsibility, a duty, to present the other side of the argument, which is Trump saying peacefully and patriotically, as in not inciting violence. And none of them did.
Well, we have strict rules, especially around the BBC, because it's taxpayer funded, not privately funded, so they should get in trouble for lying, but they don't, which is that you cannot run party political broadcasts like this, because that's what this was. This was them dishonestly cutting it so it could be partisan. And it's an indictment of how bad the media are. They do not even attempt to check what the Democrats give them. If the Republicans are giving them a tape to run, bet down they're going to check
But the thing is, I don't believe for a second they don't know that Trump... I mean, it's literally the next sentence he says, that Trump says, we're going to march down there peacefully and patriotically. I know that they know that he said that, and I know that they know that they should have made that clear. And if it was the other way around, if it was Republicans who had taken something of Hillary Clinton out of context, you would then get the full statement, and for her to say, actually I wanted to peacefully and patriotically, they would have done this. And so we can be absolutely sure that this is just about partisan bias.
Yeah, we can. So that's the first thing to mention. The next parts of the trial with them setting up, as the BBC reports, new evidence of what went on. I was kind of underwhelmed by the new evidence that was presented. So all the things we're not going to talk about, so I'll just mention them quickly. It's like some new security footage of people walking around. Like some of Nancy Pelosi's staffers had to barricade themselves, and apparently some people tried to get into the room they were in, but they utterly failed. So it's like, okay. And then some voices on a radio from police. It's like, okay, this isn't anything we didn't know. So this is actually kind of a waste of time. But, okay. But the things they did present, which made everyone just cringe, like, what are you doing, is things like this. And the next link is them trying to present Nick Fuentes giving a speech about destroying the GOP as evidence of Trump inciting the Capitol invasion. Like, how does Nick Fuentes giving a speach have anything to do with this?
How is it that Nick Fuentes and Baked Alaska have brought down the Republic? How has this happened?
You know what? Actually, I didn't want to play this, but let's play it just because I think it's that funny just to watch him
Here's Nicholas Fuentes, a commentator who would organize a Stop the Steal rally in Michigan with Trump supporters.
In the first Million MAGA March, we promised that if the GOP would not do everything in their power to keep Trump in office, then we would destroy the GOP. And as we gather here in Washington, D.C. for a second Million MAGA March, we're done making promises. It has to happen now. We are going to destroy the GOP.
Yeah, no, keep playing. No, don't stop. Don't stop.
Keep playing. Keep playing.
Let's go! Destroy the GOP! Destroy the GOP! Destroy the GOP!
Those words, that was Trump's message. Destroy anyone who won't listen, who won't help them.
Pause it now.
Isn't she in favor of that message?
But this man that's not Trump, who's an America First group that's
in
also
Michigan,
giving a speech, that's Trump's message.
I mean, even
then what was the message?
Yeah, destroy the GOP. That's not hang Nancy Pelosi.
Well,
what?
But it's also not violent. Destroy the GOP.
Well, yeah.
Normal political terms for like we want to rework it in a way that
vote
suits
against
our
them. Get rid of them. Yeah.
How does AOC and Bernie Sanders talk about the Democratic Party?
Absolutely,
exactly the same.
But again, like someone else speaking somewhere else is not inciting Capitol rioters. That's just ridiculous.
So pathetic. I can't get over it. And it got worse. Like, it didn't get better somehow. So the next one is just them showing tweets. They brought tweets as evidence that his speech outside the Capitol incited this.
This speech, a tweet on January the 1st, so 5 days, 6 days
5 days ago,
you
tweeted a thing in which you're retweeting that people were going to come there.
Yeah, and it was a rally.
And that proves that your speech on the day incited them. That doesn't make any sense. And of course, they know this doesn't make any sense, because that's the part as well. It's the reason they're showing this is to try and confuse you into thinking that if you say something days in advance, that is criminal. It's not. If I can say anything I want about committing violence, and then 70 days later I then make a speech.
Because I mean, legally it has to be imminent.
It has to be imminent. That's the standard. But this wasn't the worst part of this. You can see there. You can see Jennifer Lynn Lawrence. Yep. You can see a lovely little check mark there. So that means she's important,
verified check mark.
Verified check mark. Yeah, she's not. This is just an outright lie. So this is her account with no verified check mark, tweeting out, "What am I doing on the news with a verified check mark?"
I've never been verified on Twitter, so why did my tweet used in the fact-free impeachment include a verification badge? I'm assuming Democrats faked it like they're faking the whole case. That's a good question.
Yeah. So because there is none. Whoever made this slide, and presumably is the same person who's made all the slides because it's all consistent, layout.
Yeah.
They made a fake tweet. They sat there on Photoshop, made a fake verification badge, and put it there.
Very interesting.
Pathetic.
And it's just some random person on Twitter.
Yeah.
Best day ever. Thank you, Trump, for the retweet. It's been an honor to stand up and fight for you and our nation. We're standing strong during the 16th, January 6th. We're bringing the cavalry, Mr. President. So it's a protest. They're protesters.
Yeah, we're going to come and protest. So there's not even anything criminal here. But they still had to fake it. They had to fake something that doesn't even help their case. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know why they're doing this.
Well, it's because their case is that weak, isn't it?
It is that weak.
Yeah.
And it got worse. Again, they then went from random tweets that Trump had retweeted, so at least Trump was involved, to random message board threads. So this is the next one. Just a meme on some message board. I think this is the Donald on Reddit.
Right, yeah.
Again, not Donald Trump. Again, nothing to do with the Republican Party. It's not affiliated. It's just a random group saying things like they wanted to come to the Capitol. And it's like, yeah, and? How does this prove any criminal intent or anything criminal?
This is not Trump's doing, so why are you tarring him with it?
So it's just a complete waste of time, and they know it's a waste of time.
I like Michael Tracy's commentary here. The impeachment managers should be genuinely embarrassed that they're on the floor of the Senate reading out random BS online memes and posts, but they're clearly not embarrassed.
Yeah, he's totally right. They should be embarrassed. And then it got worse. So not only did they have, trying to fake stuff to try and make it seem more important, and also non-arguments and deceptive editing, and then random message board threads as if that means anything at all.
Yeah.
They then just openly started making stuff up. So this is a video of one of the senators who had been quoted in their attempts to try and show the Republican Party endorsed this. And he's like, no, I didn't say any of this. Retract it. I'm having an objection. You need to retract this. And the next one is the Dems actually accepting, yeah, we lied. We were peddling fake news, and they accept the retraction on the grounds that he didn't make those statements. That's how weak their case is.
That's amazing, making up statements and describing them to people.
They have to admit that it's fake news. And you can see this chap here, he's the one leading it. I don't know much about the guy, but I don't need to. No. You could just look into the fact of, okay, he's the one leading an impeachment trial on the basis that Donald Trump didn't accept the outcome and then, went on to protest about it. That's what he did. You can talk about his supporters who then, raided the Capitol, fine, but that's not who's in court today. It's not Trump.
Yeah.
And himself is a chap who has a history of not accepting the election results. So the next link here is something earthed up about the election of Donald Trump, in which he was objecting to the Florida's Electoral College results, trying to get them struck down. And he says the 10 results shouldn't be, so on and so forth. And then Joe Biden interrupts. And he's like, wait, have you got any standing order for this? Have you got anyone signed on to this? He's like, no, I've got a bill. No one signed it, but I've got a bill. He's like, right, shut up. And just shuts him up. But, these people are pathetic. I can't take them seriously when they're engaged in the conduct they're accusing Trump of. And the next one up here is also Speaker Pelosi, who is obviously, we've covered before, guilty of the same thing, saying that the election in which Donald Trump was elected was hijacked.
Yep.
Okay, then you're going to jail too, lady.
Yep, and especially as we can actually, you have actually proven that the 2016 election wasn't. There was no interference from Russia.
You had your investigation, Trump didn't.
You had a really long and expensive investigation, and you turned up literally nothing.
So if we're going to accept that questioning results of federal elections for president are enough to be sent out of office, as two people are going to go. But the other part they tried to get him on was the fact that he said you had to fight like hell. That was his statement on the speech. And other problems here, obviously not an incitement, that's political rhetoric. And if it is incitement now, oh, buddy, a lot of people going to jail.
Yes.
So including the guy who's running the show. So this is the guy giving an interview in the Atlantic saying that we're going to fight like hell. So he's going to jail. And then the next one is Ilhan Omar, also presumably going to jail for saying we need to fight like hell to get Donald Trump out of the White House.
Not my girl Ilhan.
And then Joe Biden. Joe Biden's also going to jail, I guess, for saying we need to fight like hell. So,
I mean, fight like hell is clearly very stock political rhetoric in the United States.
It's so stock. It wasn't just these three. Like a good boy's been making compilations of Democrats saying this. We won't play it because it's just too long. But it goes through all of them. Like you've got the Obamas talking about it. You got Elizabeth Warren talking about it. Everyone said
because what they mean is campaign.
Yes,
they mean campaign. It's just campaigning rhetoric. It's obviously not It doesn't mean pick up a gun.
No, it doesn't.
Like, Christ.
And this is how pathetic their claims are.
I love Chuck Schumer and the bloody African thing.
Oh, God, yeah, it's
such cringe.
So this is how pathetic their attack is, in which they want to convict him. So Trump's going to have, his team should have a field day. Jesus Christ, guys, just do this right.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting a child. This is so pathetic.
A bunch of emotional children.
And the point is that they know it. They know that they've got no case. So this is Vox.com, a very partisan leftist outlet, saying that he won't be convicted. They know. They got nada. So they're saying impeachment.
For anyone who can't see it, Trump won't be convicted. Impeachment is still worth it.
So this is their defense. So they, just to give their side of the story, which is not that they think he's broken the law and this whole thing is a sham, they admit, but they have some reasons for this. Mm-hmm. The central fact of American politics today is that one of the country's two major political parties is broken. Not merely wrong, but broken in a fundamental way, hostile to democracy and incapable of serving as a good faith partner in governing.
One of them is, yes.
The one that's currently engaged in a fruitless impeachment trial.
Second fruitless impeachment trial.
Which you have already admitted is a sham, mate. What are you talking about?
To which you have no evidence.
So talking about the impeachment, to why it's good again, it will show that even in a dramatic case of outright insurrection against the United States government, the country's political system is incapable of holding the elites accountable, largely due to the country's extreme partisanship. Demonstrating this will serve as a justification for people, Democrats and civil society alike, to take dramatic steps to repair American democracy down the line. I love the projection. This is such projection. Like
they're the source of it.
The elites won't be held accountable, and this shows it. Therefore, this was good for us to fix democracy. It's like,
you are the elites who aren't being held accountable.
What are you talking about, lads?
It's unreal.
Oh, man. And then there's another part in here which he talks about the further reason for this, cementing it. To really fix America, Democrats need to engage in a kind of partisan warfare.
Is that a literal quote?
Yeah.
What?
As if that's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's what's going to fix America. Non-stop, unrelenting partisan warfare. That's going to fix America.